the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. It's a trash-filled area in the ocean that's more than twice the size of Texas. Much of that trash is single-use plastic that's been proven hard to clean up. Recently, a Netherlands-based nonprofit called the Ocean Cleanup has made strides in doing just that. And I spoke about the developments with Dr. Adrian Jordaan, Assistant Professor of Fish Population Ecology and Conservation at the University of Massachusetts Amherst.
Most of the plastic that is ending up eventually in these garbage patches that are floating around in the ocean is starting from rivers, which obviously connects the ocean to inland, as the Connecticut River does here. And so it's part of trying to make the solutions actually work. You know, if you wait until all of the trash in the center of the ocean is being collected, you haven't solved the problem in the meantime. So it's trying to tackle it a little bit at the source.
It was really interesting. The press release from Ocean Cleanup about this interceptor device said that it can clean up to 50,000 kilograms of plastics a day. So I did the quick Google math there. That's about 110,000 pounds of trash. Is there that much plastic in these riverways? That's a huge capacity.
Yeah, so it obviously varies by location, and unfortunately, in places like China and in Southeast Asia, there is that much plastic in those riverways that is eventually getting into the ocean, and unfortunately, as you mentioned earlier, that some of that trash is coming from us to start with, and it's part of the recycling that is ending up in these countries that don't have quite the waste management systems that we do.
Right, because the plastic, obviously, people might think, oh, you're on a boat and you're tossing it out over the side of a boat while you're in the ocean. No, that's not where the majority of this is coming from. It's either been diverted via wind, or maybe you thought it was being recycled, but it's not. Do we have any sense of how much of this is deliberate waste that's being dumped irresponsibly, and how much of this is indirectly ending up there by accident?
Yeah, I don't think that there's much information on that. I think that it's probably a combination of the two. The plastic ends up in a couple of places. It either ends up in a landfill, it gets incinerated in many situations, and then there's the recycling component. And since most of the plastic is produced in these countries, it does make sense that we send it there, because then you would hope that it would end up back as a product. But unfortunately, some of it is not.
Last month, Ocean Cleanup, this nonprofit organization based in the Netherlands, made big news because of the work that it has been trying to do in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. And the work started back in 2013, as I understand it, with this sort of massive device it's been using to try and capture a lot of the plastic that we know is out there. You look at the Google Earth images of this massive wad of disgusting plastic that's larger than Texas. But recently, the news was broken that it's working, that it's able to capture some of this material. What was your reaction when you heard that this was working?
Well, it's an amazing, simple idea. It's just basically a giant parachute net that slowly collects material because it's got something that's holding it back a little bit, and so the plastic collects in it. So it's brilliant, and is obviously because of the scale of the problem. You can't just go out and start picking it up with hands and dip nets. It's just too big, and so I think that you just have to admire when a simple, logical idea actually works, and I think that they should be commended for the effort that they're trying.
Yeah, and it was a young gentleman. He was 19 at the time when he started this back in 2013, and he was persistent too, because there were some hiccups along the way. It was out there, it wasn't working as intended initially. So stick-to-itiveness, kind of the important message there. But the device that they're using, not only is it catching big items that you might think it would catch, but my understanding is small items up to 1 millimeter. What's the problem with that size plastic? I know you study fish, but 1 millimeter of plastic, what's the problem with that in the waterways?
Well, first of all, 1 millimeter of plastic is actually a fairly large piece of plastic. Unfortunately, it gets even smaller than that. And so the problem is that, in fact, one of the species of fish that I work on, river herring and blueback herring, which are in the Connecticut River, they have specially adapted features on their gills that allow them to filter out materials from the water. And so this is all the herrings in Menhaden and all the sort of middle organisms that then are feed for the larger organisms that we like to either fish recreationally or eat cod and striped bass and those kinds of fish. And so unfortunately they filter out plastic during the time that they're feeding, because they're basically just filtering out the water. And so the problem is that it's ending up in those fish. Some of those fish are harvested both directly for use in agriculture or livestock production, but also they get eaten by stuff. And so as it turns out, that stuff is now coming back to our dinner plates and into our food.
Another area of research that you're focused on is understanding the influence of environmental variables on growth and survival of individual populations. So aside from the bioaccumulation piece you just talked about, are there other ways that these plastics are impacting wildlife that we should be talking about?
Well, I think that it's just we have shifted over my lifetime. I'm in my mid-40s from a society that was sort of a waste not, want not society. And we've watched the emergence of many different products that are plastic. And I think that there's just this large amount of material that is getting into our waterways, and that's unfortunately also pharmaceuticals, and of course the opioid epidemic is also resulting in some of these materials getting in the water. And so we've thankfully cleaned up a lot of our rivers from being able to...
talk about was a highly industrialized area, whether it was mills or factories, and we talk about PCBs. That cleanup has gone on in many areas. Some areas it's still going on, but now we have this new challenge we're facing.
Right, and so there's a lot of stuff that we don't see. And I think that unfortunately it's tough for people to sort of really understand that there's this problem, because it's an unseen problem.